Hello dear traders, today I show you the ultimate scanner. It is already loaded to my screen and you see a lot of colors, and in this video I will show you how you can use this ultimate scanner to find trends, to find signals for good entries, to find pin bars, and how we can combine all this information for our trading. In this newest version of the Ultimate Scanner, you don't need additional software. It is a standalone product, so you can use it without any additional software. The only thing you need is, of course, Metagrid 4, the trading platform itself. But you don't need additional software to use the Ultimate Scanner. In the older versions, you needed additional software, but in the newest version, 2023 and higher, you don't need this. So if you buy this product or if you updated it, you don't need additional software. The first important question is, how do we start the Ultimate Scanner? For this we use simply a blank chart. For example, here on the pound dollar, you can take every other major pair and then you make a right mouse button click, and then you go here to templates and then to load template, and then you should find in your list of templates one which says Ultimate Scanner 2023. If you have maybe a newer version, then this last number could be different. And then we click simply on OK, and then you can see the scanner starts working and loads all the information. It scans 9 different time frames, so all time frames from the MetaTrader platform. You can see this is the lowest time frame, the 1 minute time frame, then we have here the 5 minute time frame, and so on up to the monthly chart. And here you can see the 30 pairs. The scanner can scan up to 30 pairs in real time. If you want to change these pairs, you simply go here, for example, on this blank field on your chart, and then you make a click with the right mouse button, and then you go to Export Advisors and then Properties, and then you get here the settings for the Ultimate Scanner. And if you scroll a little bit down, you can see here you can change the pairs. You can remove a pair, and then you'll simply let the field blank and you don't enter a pair. For example, you can here simply double click and remove this one, and then this pair would not be scanned anymore, or you add a different pair, for example, on it. If you use a broker which has a pair suffix, like for example some brokers have, let's see, as an example, you can see there was a arrow here, for example the Aussie USD point ECN. If you have such a broker, you don't have to add this point ECN to every pair. You simply would add this suffix here in this field, and then it will automatically add it to all these pair names. So it's much easier instead of typing all this information for every pair here in it. Okay, but you can change easily the pairs, and like I told you, you can scan with the Ultimate Scanner up to 30 pairs. Now, what do all these boxes mean, these colors means? I will explain this now to you. Basically, we have 4 different colors. You can see the different boxes here, and we have, for example, the light green box here. You can see these are light green boxes. A light green box stands for a weak buy trend. So this information says to us, okay, on the Aussie CAD, on the 1 minute time frame, we have at the moment a weak buy trend. Maybe a change from a sell trend to a buy trend, but it's weak for the moment. What this exactly mean, I show you on the chart in some minutes. I only want to explain now the different colors, and then we look on the chart what this means. Because if you click on one of these boxes, you will get transferred to the pair and the correct time frame, and then you can see what this trend means. But first we make the colors. So every light green box stands for this time frame where you find it for a weak buy trend. And then we have the dark green boxes. You can see them here. This is all a dark green box. This tells us we have a stronger or strong buy trend on this pair and this time frame. For example, here on the pound Aussie, we have here a dark green box on the M1 time frame. This means on M1, on the 1 minute time frame, the pound Aussie has at the moment a strong buy trend. How we define our strong buy trend and a weak buy trend and so on, I show you in a minute. Then we have a light red boxes. These are this one. It's a light red box. You can see here and here. This stands for weak sell trend. And then we have the dark red boxes, like here it's a dark red box and here's dark red, dark red. This stands for strong sell trend. And then you can see on some boxes it says PB buy or PB sell. This stands for pin bar. If you see, for example, here on the Aussie yen, on the M30 time frame, this information tells us the last closed candle on the 30-minute time frame on the Aussie yen was a pin bar in the buy direction. And so you see on one chart every pin bar for every time frame and all of these 30 pairs. This is amazing because pin bar trading or trading with pin bars is very powerful and it gives you a lot of information what is going on the market. I show you this all on the chart in the next minutes, but we want first do all the colors. And there's one more thing. You can see some boxes have a yellow frame on it, like here you can see a yellow frame, here is a yellow frame, or here. This means we have a fresh signal on this pair and this time frame. So for example here, we're here on the euro pound and it's a strong buy trend on the M30 time frame and it's a fresh buy signal here in this case because it has a yellow frame on it. So if you go for signals, you would have a look for these yellow frames. And if you're a more trend trader and you want for trend, look out for trends or for trend changes, then you would maybe go more for colors and the same colors on more time frames. For example, if you want to go into a sell trade, you would look for a pair which has a lot of time frames in dark red. For example, you can see it here on the Euro Aussie. We have a dark red boxes, so a strong sell trend from the M15 time frame up to the H4 time frame. So maybe you could find on this pair a sell entry. And then you can see here the mode button. With this button you can change the mode. At the moment the mode is in new chart. This means if you click on one of these boxes, the Ultimate Scanner will open a new chart with the exact pair and the exact time frame. If you click here on this button, it will change to mode set alerts. Then you can set alerts for every pair and every time frame. For example, if you want an alert, if there's a trend change, then you will use this mode. I showed this at the end of the video how you can set alerts. You can set hundreds of alerts for every pair and every time frame with the Ultimate Scanner, and then you don't miss any trend and any trend change. This is simply amazing, and you can do this all on one screen, on one dashboard, and so you have the big picture always on your side. Now let me explain how we define with the Ultimate Scanner a trend or a fresh signal. So we begin with the weak buy trend. So remember, a weak buy trend is shown here on the scanner with a light green box, like here. Let's go to a higher time frame, not on the M1, so that the trend stays for a bit while I explain this to you. Let's take, for example, here on the H4, this weak buy trend on the CAD yen. So if I click now on this box, the Ultimate Scanner will open the CAD yen on the H4 time frame. Let's do this. I click on it and you can see now we're here on the CAD yen on the H4. And now we have here the chart and the signals and how we define the trend. You can see this blue arrow here which is pointing upwards, and this defines the beginning of a weak trend. In this case, it points upwards, so this means a weak buy trend just began. And let me say that this signals and arrows is not a trading system which I have invented. It is a trading method which is available for, I think, more than 10, even 15 years. The blue arrows here are made of the zigzag indicator or the zigzag trading method. So basically it shows the high and lows on a different chart. So if you see such a blue arrow, it means that the candles came to a position, to a very low position for a possible trend change. And the same is if we have a arrow which point downwards, then we are on a position where maybe the trend changes again for in the sell direction. So the signals in the method is nothing I have invented, and it's free available to the internet. You can find hundreds of indicators to point or to give you such arrows and these lines here and so on. But the Ultimate Scanner uses this trading method to give you all the trend information on one dashboard. This is the special thing about the Ultimate Scanner, that you have one dashboard with all these pairs and all the time frames, the big picture like I told you. And this one here is a trading method which works since 10-15 years, and you will get a good outcome or good results with it. So back to our week uptrend. So we have this blue arrow here. It says, okay, the candle came to a position where a possible trend change can occur. And you can see indeed after this blue arrow, it began and started to go upwards. So on this scanner, every light green box, if you see here, you know the last signal on this pair was such a blue arrow which points upwards. So on all these green boxes and pairs, like here for example, or here, we know without clicking on it that there's at the last signal we had on this pair was this blue arrow. We have here all blue arrows. It does not mean that this blue arrow is exactly on the last closed candle. It tells us this was the last signal on this pair. Okay, so the last blue arrow here we had on all these pairs with these light green boxes, blue arrows in the last, let's say, hours, minutes, it depends on what time frame you are. So this blue arrow does repainting because it's based on the zigzag indicator. This means if the candles would now go deeper down, the blue arrow would move to the next deeper position. This is totally normal. It's based on the zigzag trading method. But we don't care about this because we don't trade this blue arrow alone. You can see there are red and green boxes as well. And these are the important boxes. What we want to see is a blue arrow followed by a green box or a red box. And then it's a strong signal that we maybe go into a trade, but only maybe. These boxes do not repaint, they stay all day long on the same place. And remember, these blue arrows do repaint because it's based on the method how this blue arrow is calculated. And by the way it's calculated and what it should show us, it has to be repainting. So it's like I told you, based on the zigzag trading method and indicator. You can Google for it maybe. But what we want to have is a blue arrow and one of these boxes here. And then I explain to you what these boxes mean now. I close this chart. We look on these dark green boxes. For example, here on the M30 on the Euro Kiwi. Here you see it's a dark green box on the M30. This means we have here a strong buy trend. Let's click on this box and then I can show you what a strong buy trend means. We are on the Euro Kiwi on the M30 and you can see the last signal on this pair was a strong buy trend. We had the blue arrow pointing upwards and followed by a green box. This is how the Ultimate Scanner defines a strong uptrend. We have the blue arrow followed by a green box, and you can see from this moment on this pair was really going upwards. So this could give a winner if you had opened a buy trade. But let me tell you first, we don't blindly open a trade only because we have here a strong buy trend defined by the arrow and the box. We do something more. I'll show you this in a minute. But let's recap. For a strong buy trend, we need an arrow which points upwards, followed by a green box. This is a strong uptrend. And this means on all these boxes which are dark green, we have the situation that we had a blue arrow followed by a green box. You notice without opening the chart, you know every box which is dark green tells you there was a blue arrow pointing upwards followed by a green box, like here. And here you can see, by the way, the opposite situation. We have here an arrow pointing downwards followed by a red box. This stands for a strong sell trend. We have the arrow pointing downwards followed by a red box. This is a strong sell trend by definition. And you can see again, it had give you a nice result if you had traded here in the sell direction, if you had opened a sell trade. So now we know the weak buy, the strong buy, the strong sell, and maybe you can already have a clue what a weak strong trend is. You can see here the light red boxes. Let's check it here on the CAT Swissy. We have a light red box on the M30. We click on it, and you can see there's only at the moment the blue arrow pointing downwards, and we have not the red box followed so far. This means it's only a weak sell trend because the red box is missing so far. So this is a possible sell opportunity, but not yet. Some people do trade these weak trends too. Personally, I do it not, but some people do, and for this the Ultimate Scanner shows these arrows. But if you want to go into stronger trends, you would have to wait now for a strong sell trend. You know, you can check it, you can say, okay, this is an interesting pair for me. So far it tells me only it could go into a strong sell trend, but so far I have only this arrow which points downwards. It's a weak sell trend so far. I will wait until this is a strong sell trend. And what do we do now? We could check every 2 minutes if there's maybe the box now on the chart. But it's very much easier with the Ultimate Scanner. Remember, we are under CAT Swissy. We have this weak sell trend, and we want to enter maybe a sell trade if it changes to a strong sell trend. So if it changes that way, that the red box comes on our chart, then we have the arrow pointing downwards, then we have the red box, and then we have the strong sell trend, and then we will maybe go into a sell trade. And this we can do with the alerts from the Ultimate Scanner. In this way, we click here on this mode button. It changed now to set alerts. And then we go here to CAT Swissy on the M30 button. We click once a time, and then you can see it says S sell. This means you will get an alert if there is a strong S sell trend. So the Ultimate Scanner will give you an alert by email, by push notification on your mobile phone, and a desktop alert as soon as it finds a strong sell trend on the CAT Swissy. Means as soon as the red box appears and this arrow stays on the chart. You need both, remember it. So if you have the arrow pointing downwards and the red box is on the chart, then the scanner will give you an alert. Don't forget again to click here on this mode button. That is all saved. And so you can see now on our dashboard, we have here an alert for a strong sell. As soon as this pair changes to a strong sell, you will get an alert. And this is by this way very easy to find strong trends, and then you look maybe for an entry. I think you already see how easy it is to use the Ultimate Scanner and to find trends. And so far we saw this dark green and red boxes for the trends we want to trade with. But in this case you saw, for example here, let's use a different pair. Let's use, for example, the CAD Yen on the M30. It's a dark green box. So the last signal was a strong buy trend. We click on it and then we wait, and you can see here was the blue arrow which points upwards, then the green box came, and now we have both the arrow followed by the box. It does not matter how much candles are between the arrow and the box, but important is that we have the arrow and the correct box. So upwards means we need a green box. But you can see in this case the signal is some hours ago happened here, and maybe it's too late to enter this buy trade, because normally you would get here into this buy trade and then you had a nice winner, but now maybe it's too late. This is the reason we want to look for fresh signals. And I already told you, fresh signals we can find by the yellow frame on a box. For example, here on the Aussie Yen, on the H4 time frame, we have a yellow frame on this dark green box. What is the meaning of this? This means we have a fresh, strong buy trend. So we know by the things I showed you, if I click now on this box, there has to be an arrow which points upwards, and there has to be a green box, and because it's a yellow frame on it, it has to be a fresh signal, so where the green box has appeared lately. We click on it and then you can see, yes indeed, it's a fresh signal. We have the arrow pointing upwards and the green box just appeared here on the chart. This means it's a really fresh signal, and this means we can now think about it to go into a buy trade. But like I told you, I would not go blindly into a buy trade. Even on we have this fresh signal here, we have to do a little bit more. Firstly, you can see we have here in the lower end of our chart the extra confirmation. Some people want this information to use. I don't use it that much. It gives simply a prediction of the movement in the future. Sometimes this is okay, sometimes this does not work. It's not a magical thing. It's a calculation of the history of the chart, and by this calculation it makes a future prediction. Some people go only in a trade if they see the future prediction points upwards. For example, here you can see the future prediction says to you, okay, it goes up. So this is good if you want to go into a buy trade, but I think it's not important to use it. If you want it as an extra confirmation and you feel comfortable by this and you think, yeah, I like it, then you use it. If you don't want it, you can simply ignore it. I show you how I would enter a trade now. There are different entry methods. You can use the Ultimate Scanner for your own trading style, your own trading method, whatever you trade. Of course, if you have already a good trading method or a good method to enter the market, you can stay with this, and then the Ultimate Scanner gives you the information about a trend. If you see this is the right trend for your method, then you go with it. But I show you now a method which is very powerful and which works on all time frames, and you can use it by scalping. For scalping, you can use it for day trading or even for swing trading. So for the trades which you can maybe have bigger profits. Let's use a pair where we already have a trend going on for a while, so we don't look for a fresh signal, that I can show you a possible entry. Let's do this here with the NCD CAT. You can see we have a strong sell trend on the H1 time frame for a while because it has no yellow frame on it. This means the trend is going on for a while. And let's click on it. And you can see indeed, here we had the blue arrow pointing downwards, followed by the red box, which means after the box here appeared on the chart, we know we are in a strong sell trend. And the box appeared around here with these candles, but I would not have entered the trade here. What I do is I want that the candle comes back here to this line. You can see this trend line here. If the trend line is blue, then we are in a uptrend, and if it's red, we are in a sell trend. This means after this red box appeared, this trend line changed here to red, and if you have a green box, it changed to blue, so for up movement. So what I want to see after we have this box, I want to see that the candle comes back to our trend line, and then it goes further down. Like here, you can see it makes the retest here of our trend line, and after the trend line, it begins with this red candle to go further down. This is the confirmation I want to have to go into a trend trade with this system, or let's say it's this way. I use the ultimate scanner with this entry method, and it works really very, very often. Of course, you will see losers too. This is how trading works. You will have losers, but it gives you a good confirmation if the trade ID could work. The same, for example, you have here. We had here the arrow pointing downwards. We have the red box. The red box came around here. You can see. I would not have opened the sell trade here. I wait until we get the retest of our trend line. You can see the candle comes back, retests here our trend line. After that, it goes further down. And then you can see if you had entered around here, for example, the trade after the close of this red candle, after the retest of this trend line, now it was going down over 100 pips, for example. In the same you can do on any time frame, on any pair. It is really powerful. For example, you could use a trend line. Let's say you got here the signal for a strong sell trend and the candle is here. Then you could draw simply here a trend line, and then you say, okay, if this is really a sell trend downwards, then I want to see after the retest here of this trend line that this trend line, that this line here gets broken. And you can see it gets broken then here, and then we go further down. The same you could have done here on this buy example, that you say, okay, here's the green box. Now here comes the retrace back to our blue trend line. And after I see this retrace, I make, for example, here again such a trend line. And if this gets broken, it was broken here, then I go into a buy trade. And if you have the Metagrid Trade Manager, then you can even do this automatically. You can draw on the Metagrid Trade Manager a trend line like this, and then you can tell Metagrid, as soon as this trend line gets broken, open a buy trade. Then you don't have to sit all day long in front of your screen and you wait until here this trend line got broken. Metagrid does this completely automatically for you. There's an own video on my YouTube channel for the trend line automatic trades, and this is very powerful if you use such trend lines to enter the market. And this works on the lower time frames too. For example, if we look here on the M15, we had on the CAT Swissy strong sell trend for a while. Let's check if this method I showed you now had worked here too. I click on it, and you can see the strong sell trend was confirmed by this red box. Here we had the arrow pointing downwards, then this red box came around here. But then we wait for the retest of our little trend line here. you can also say maybe a kind of moving average here. After the retouch here, you can see here was the retest of this line. We could have drawn a trend line like this, and then after it got broken here, then we are now in this sell trade downwards, and so far it would have given us profit here. It works on every time frame. Of course, if you go to a lower time frame like the M1 or the M5, then it's more scalping. Then you should not stay too long in such a trade, because on M1 and M5 the trend can change quickly. But on the higher time frames, like on the H1 or H4, you can go maybe for 30, 50, 60, even 100 pips with such entry method here. If we maybe watch for a lower time frame, like here on the M5, we have a fresh signal here on the Aussie dollar. It has the yellow frame, so we know it's a fresh, strong buy trend on this time frame. If we click on it, then you can see, yes, the signal is very fresh. The green box appeared maybe 1 or 2 candles before, but I would not enter now this buy trade. What we do, we wait that the candle comes back to our blue moving average or trend line here. It has not happened so far. You can see at the moment it wants to come back to this line, and if we have the touch of our blue trend line after the candle has closed, of course, then we could draw a trend line like this here, and then you would wait for the break of this trend line, and then you enter the buy trade here. And as we here on the M5, you would go maybe for 10 pips or so, or for scalping. I would not use the M1 time frame, to be honest. I like the time frames M15 and higher. Sometimes I go for M5 too, but on M5 you can really have a lot of changes in the movement, yeah. But you see, it really works a lot. We had here, for example, the confirmation that we have a buy trade, but you can see here was the confirmation, and then it was already here, has already retested here this trend line. Then you could, of course, immediately open a buy trade after a trend line break, and you can see it was a little bit more tricky. If we had drawn here our trend line, it was broken here. We would normally place the stop loss on the last low here below this blue arrow, of course. And then you can see the stop loss would have a hold here. We would not get stopped out by a stop loss here. After we got here the break, we are a little bit drawdown, and then we had here the nice buy trade. But you can see there came a red box 2, which says, okay, maybe it will go down maybe soon. But red box alone without the arrow does not mean anything for us, okay? We ignore such boxes, like here or here you have no arrow before. And what we also ignore is if we have the box and then the arrow. Even it worked here, we don't use such signals. It's always the same. We need the arrow and a correct box, and not in a different or opposite way. And if it's a box alone, stand alone, like here or here, we can ignore it. It's not a signal we want to work with, okay? It's still the same. We need the arrow and the box, always the same. I want to show you an example on the daily time frame. We are in the Aussie yen. It's a dark red box, which tells us on the daily time frame we have a strong sell trend for a while. And especially if you go to the higher time frames, you will see maybe more boxes, and in the first moment you think the signal from the ultimate scanner is wrong, but it is not. And I show you this on this higher time frame, on a day 1 daily time frame. So Aussie yen, I click on this dark red box, and what we want to see is a strong sell trend which takes for a while. I click on it, and then you will maybe think, there's a red box, but there is no arrow on it, and there's a green box and there's no arrow on it. The ultimate scanner is doing wrong things. No, it is not. The ultimate scanner told you on the Aussie yen daily time frame there is going on a strong sell trend for a while, and on the daily time frame every candle is a day, if you look back, the last valid signal was here. It was a arrow pointing downwards, followed by a red box. And since then, we had no new signal. Remember, we ignore standalone boxes. This is no signal, this is no signal. And if we ignore these two standalone boxes, the last valid and confirmed trend was here, and it was indeed a sell signal. We have the arrow pointing downwards, followed by the red box. And you can see here on the daily time frame, the red box came around here. It's the same. We wait for the retest of this moving average trend line, the red line here, and the retest was here, exactly here. It touched again this red line. Then you would do again here a trend line, and we can here draw a really nice trend line by the spikes here below. If you use these spikes to draw the trend line, after the break of this trend line, let's see, it crashed down max over around 500 pips. Isn't that amazing? You could here have a winner with max 500 pips. Of course, maybe you would have not traded this pair so long. Maybe we closed it here again after the pair retested again here our moving average or trend line. So this is also a good place to close it, and it's still going down here. Maybe it found now here support. You can see here it was going up again, here it was going up again, and now at the same place it goes up. So it's also now a good time to close this trade if you had entered it here, because it looks like a kind of support here, even if you don't know yet how this will develop further. You can see how nice this method works, and it works all day long. You will find with the Ultimate Scanner so much trade opportunities, and with the alerts I showed you, you don't have to sit all day long in the front of your screen. You simply make the alerts, and then you wait until the trend changes, and then you do the method I showed you, for example, with this retest of the moving average or this trend line, and then you enter the trade after you get this extra confirmation that this trend line got broken, that we come into a trade. I don't want to make this video too long. I will show you two things at the end. Firstly, I want to show you what would be a method to work with these alerts. If you maybe start at the morning on your computer and you want to find some trade opportunities, how would we do that? And then at the end of the video I will show you the pin bars too, what you can do with this. So firstly, what would be a good trade plan for you if you have the Ultimate Scanner installed on your computer and you say, no, I want to use it? And what you would do is that you start with the fresh signals, of course. You would wait for the fresh signals, and then it depends if you want to go in intraday trading. This means you want to trade the next hours, or if you don't have so much time that you maybe can only check 1 or 2 times a day your charts, then you would go maybe with the signals on the higher time frames. For example, if you want to check only once a day, then you would go with the daily time frame, and after the new trading day began, you would open your Ultimate Scanner, and then you would look for fresh signals. And you can see today we had no fresh signal for a strong trend. We had only a fresh signal for a weak trend. So if you click on this button here with the light red box and the yellow frame, which says to us, okay, it's a fresh signal, yes, but it's a fresh sell trend. What would we expect if we open the chart? We would expect only a blue arrow pointing downwards, not the box, because it's only a fresh, weak sell trend. So on this chart, we only can see the blue arrow. Let's click on it, and you can see this is the case. We have only at the moment the blue arrow pointing downwards freshly, but the red box to confirm a strong sell trend is missing so far. So on this day, if you want only to check it once a time, you had no trade today because there's no fresh signal on it. But you can maybe use the H4 time frame if you have the time to check it more often. For example, we have here 1, 2, 3 fresh signals on a strong trend box. This is good. We have 3 strong buy trends with a fresh signal on it. For example, here on the Aussie Kiwi, if we click here on it, we come to the H4 and you can see, yes, it's a fresh trend. But we would now wait, of course, for the retest of this moving average or our trend line. Depends how you want to name it. What I have in store and I plan to do is to add to the Ultimate Scanner an alert for the retest of this moving average or trend line here, because you still would now have to wait until we got a retest of this trend line if you would use the same method I do, okay? If you use the same entry method. If you have a total different entry method, it's up to you if you would go now into this trade or not, or if you use here the extra confirmation here from this indicator, or if you maybe use additional indicators to confirm trends, then it's different, of course. But if you want to use the same entry method I showed you with the last minutes, then of course you would now have to wait for the retest of this moving average here, and then you would draw the trend line. And then after the break of the trend line, you would go into such a trade. So maybe it's better that you check the trends which are a little bit longer on the chart. For example, if you use here the Aussie dollar, and you can see we have here a strong green box. So it's a strong buy trend for a while, but we don't know at the moment how long this trend took, but we can check it. We click on it and then we see if we have still an opportunity to go into. You can see here was the arrow pointing upwards. Here was the box, the green box we have waited for, and then we would have waited here for the retest. It already happened, but what we have here is a very important thing, because this is a trade we would not have taken. Because after the retest of this line, it was further going down. And with this, it's cancelled, okay? If you see such a thing, that the retest does not work and it goes further down, we cancel this trade. What we want to see is the retest of the moving average here. And then it has to go up after this retest, not further down like here. And if you look here on the extra confirmation, it's really flat. So this is a trade we would not take. So this is very important that you watch this. The same we have here, or not the same, but I can show you an example. If you have here the sell arrow and the confirmation box, we would wait for the retest. It happened then here, and then we have a valid trade. But if the retest happened here, for example, and not here, if it happened here, and it was further going up, then this trade would have been cancelled. Then there's no sell trade anymore, because the retest failed. Okay, maybe I can find some more example for a failed retest. Let me check. Okay, this is another example for a failed retest which cancels the trade. You can see we have here the green box. We had the arrow before, so it's a confirmed strong buy trend. And we would wait here around here the box came, as you can see. We wait for the retest here of our moving average or trend line. The retest then came here. And what we want to see after the retest is, of course, because we are expecting a strong buy move, that it goes after the retest further up. But instead it is going down. And so this trade is cancelled. I would not enter it. It has not confirmed by itself. And we are here at the moment after the London close and after the Frankfurt close. So it's the last hours of the US session. More or less, I don't trade this time anyways, because the signals are not so good in this last 1 to 3 hours of the US session. The best session is, of course, the European session, the early US session, and you can find good trades in the Asia session, but I would not go for that many pips in the Asia session. I would reduce the target, because in the Asia session we have sometimes slow movers and slow movements, so go for a smaller target in the Asia session. Instead, you can go for larger targets in the EU session and the US session. But this is again good example for a failed retest. You can clearly see it here that it is not going up after the retest, it is going down, and so it's going against our trade ID, and so this cancels a trade. So what you basically can do is, if you want not to go with the fresh signals and wait all the process until all confirmation happened, you can go through the pairs with strong trends and strong buy and sell trends, so which appeared a little bit some hours or some minutes ago. It depends on the time frame. If you're here on the H1, for example, and you say, okay, here's the H4, here's the strong sell trend, there's no yellow box in it, maybe it's not that fresh anymore, that already the retest happened. And if you click here on it, you can see, yeah, this is such an example where we could maybe jump into a trade. We have the confirmation here, the arrow and the box, and then we had here the retest. You can see the box was here was the retest. We would have drawn here a trend line around this, so that we cover here this move, and then we had the chance to enter the trade here. Maybe now it's too late, because after we entered it here, it already made 60-70 pips profit here on the H4. It's definitely a place where we would take profit. And now it makes another retest, and if you want to go with the second retest, I don't do it then. If we have such a nice winner, I would not enter a second time this trade until I get a new signal. But this is how I do it. I check the fresh signals, I set some alerts, I check the trends which are already for some going on for some time. And if you go through the pairs, you will find interesting entry spots for sure. And of course, you can use the pin bars too. Some traders like the pin bars. For example, if we look here, we have a pin bar buy. This tells us on the Aussie Yen H1, the last closed candle was a pin bar in the buy direction. Let's check this, and you can see indeed it is. I zoom in a little bit. The last closed candle was this, and it's a buy pin bar because the wick is longer at the end as on the top. So like here, even if it closed red, it's a little bit of weaker pin bar, but still this is a buy pin bar which can point the way that it maybe wants to further move up, especially here because we have already a buy trend here. You can see a confirmed strong trend. We have the blue arrow, the green box, and from then on it was going up. And then if you see in such a up move, sometimes such a little pin bar, a buy pin bar, this can sometimes tell you that it was only a little pause, and after that it goes further up. So some people especially look for such pin bars and have different trading methods. You can Google for it. There are a lot of pin bar trading strategies, and if you use such a strategy, you will see all the pin bars of the last closed candle. So on every box where you can see a pin bar information, you know the last closed candle on this time frame was a pin bar. And then you could combine this with the trend. You can say, okay, if I have here a strong buy trend like on the CAD Yen, and the last closed candle was also a pin bar in the buy direction, maybe this is a chance to jump in this trade. Yeah, if you open it, you can see, yeah, this had worked. The last closed pin bar on this time frame, on this pair, was a buy pin bar, like the ultimate scanner told you. And with the next candle, you can see it was going further up here. And this is additional information you get from the scanner. and it gives you additional entry possibilities. And once again, and last, if you click here on the mode button, you are in the alert mode, and then you can here set the alerts. If you click here, now we would get an alert as soon as this box changes to a strong buy. Then you can say, okay, click here. You get an alert if there's a strong sell. And here, if you click on a strong green button, you get the alert on the strong sell. If you click again, you can change this, okay? With every time you click, it will change. So this is a strong buy alert, which makes no sense because it already is a strong buy, but it would give you an alert if the next strong buy comes, for example. This is a weak buy alert, a strong sell alert, for example. If you say, okay, I have already weak sell strongs on the lower time frame, now I wait that on the M15 a strong sell comes, and then maybe I have a nice sell trade, then you would simply here click on it, and you can make the alerts on every box as many as you want, okay? So, and if you want to delete an alert, you click as long on this button as the alert does not appear anymore, like here, then it's deleted, okay? Like here or here. And then don't forget again to click here on the mode button, and then all these alerts are active. But of course you have this chart to be opened. Don't close this chart, because if you close the ultimate scanner you will not get alerts, of course, because then the scanner is shut down. Okay, if you work with these alerts, this chart has to be open. The ultimate scanner must run. Have to run, okay? You can't close it. If you close it, all the alerts are deleted. So if you have maybe a virtual server where you can let run the ultimate scanner all day long, you can get 24 hours signals, or if you go with the scalping, for example, you could maybe only use the M5 and M15, and then you set your alerts and you wait in front of your computer or your screen until the alert appears, and then you check on your chart for a possible entry here. We make a little check of the settings of the scanner, and then this video ends. I make again a right mouse click here on the chart, Expert Advisors Properties, and then you can see here different alerts you can here activate. Desktop alert, mail alert, push notifications. I come to this in a minute. Here you can change the appearance of the ultimate scanner. If you have a bigger screen, for example, you can change the behavior of the buttons. If you want bigger or smaller buttons, you can define the distance between the buttons and the columns. You can all change this here. You have a little bit to play around with it. If it does not fit on your screen, begin with one number to change, click on OK, and then you look what is different now. And by this you can adjust the ultimate scanner appearance to your screen. Here you can also activate alerts for pin bars. So if you want get an alert as soon as, for example, on an M15 time frame, regardless on which pair there is a pin bar, then you can switch this to true, and then you would get an alert. This is possible for all time frames. We already saw here this field. And then last but not least, what is the alerts for 3 week signals in a row? If you turn this to true, you would get an alert for 3 week signals in a row. I traded this a lot after the first version of the ultimate scanner came out, because it gives you an alert as soon if you have 3 weak signals in a row. Like here, you have a weak signal on M15, on the next row and the next row. There are 3 time frames which have the 3 signals. From M15 to H1 we have 3 weak signals in a row. And like I told you, if you have 3 weak signals, this means on 3 time frames it looks like a new trend comes. The weak trend has begun, so we have the blue arrow on all these 3 time frames. Remember, is a blue arrow now. And then you would maybe jump into a buy trade if on the H1, for example, or on the H4 is a strong buy trend, like here. You have 3 weeks and a strong one here on the H4, and maybe you say, okay, I wait now that I jump again over this moving average and go into a buy trade. I don't trade it that much nowadays because I like the method I showed you much more, and I would not enter the trade here at the moment. You can see there has built a really strong resistance area here. The candles bounced every time here, so the earliest time to jump into a buy trade here would have been, or would be, if the candle jumps over this strong resistance, retests the resistance and goes further up. This week in a row, alert, maybe I will remove it in upcoming versions. You can tell me if you still use this entry method. If you have success with it, then I let this alert, of course, in the settings. But in my opinion, the method I showed you in this video is much more stronger. You will get more valid entries and better entries, and you will get a much higher win rate overall. But I want only to show you what this alert means. So basically it gives you an alert if you have 3 weak signals in a row. Let's see if we have one here. We have 3 in a row, 3 weak signals in a row. And so if you, or here we have 3 weak signals in a row here. If you play around with this and it works for you, please let me know. Then I will let this alert in the scanner. If you don't use it and don't like it, I will remove it in upcoming versions and maybe replace it by a different thing. Like I told you, I plan to add an alert if you get this retouch of this moving average, because I think it's very important if you have not so much time that you get an alert after this retouch happened, and then you could much easier find these entries. So this is the next thing I'm planning to do on the Ultimate Scanner. And this was the presentation of the Ultimate Scanner. Like I told you, it's a complete package. You don't need additional software. After the purchase, you can install it very easy by an auto installer. You can also install it manually if you want to do. It works for Windows computers only. If you have a Macintosh computer, Mac, you need still Windows on it, that you can activate the Ultimate Scanner here. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact me on support@metagrid.com, support@metagrid.com. I hope this video was helpful. I will make also some live presentations if you search for entries or trades. So please follow my Telegram group too, that you get notified if I make such live trades, or you subscribe to my YouTube channel, then you will get this alert, of course, too. I wish you nice trading days, many pips, and thank you for watching. Until next time, goodbye.